Good evening, Gonzo. How's tricks?
Excellent. Happy new financial year, sir.
Is there? I don't know.
It's Happy New Year. It's Happy New Year, basically.
That stuff doesn't bother me. Yeah, how's your Netflix going? Stranger Things, is that what you were watching?
Done. It's done. So I started watching Save Me, which is really good. It's hard work. It's hard watching. It's really hard. It's hard work. But it's very good. It's a bit raw. It's a couple of taboo subjects on it. So I'm looking for a new one. I didn't quite finish Shooter. It fizzled out a bit. So I'm looking for something new. But I know you like your Designated Survivor, so I think I might have a go at that.
Or Money Heist. It's called Money Heist now.
Yes, I've seen it. The advert.
Yeah, it was called something Spanish when it first came on, Casa de something, and the second part's now come out, and I watched it all. I finished it, so I think I've done 9 episodes in the space of a week. But it's that addictive. I finished it earlier. I was in Aberdeen today, so I finished it on the transport home. Very, very good, very recommended. So go check out that Spanish. Bank Heist, Money Heist.
I think it's Money Heist. I've seen the advert on Netflix. Yeah, good. I might well do that.
But anyway, if you're joining us on YouTube, hello. But if you're joining us on iTunes, you obviously can't see us. But thank you very much for listening.
But still, hello.
Yeah, but if you're for YouTube only, we're running a competition between now and the end of the season, or 8,000 subscribers, whichever one comes first. Hopefully, the 8,000, but it might be the end of the season. We're giving away a signed Antonio shirt. They are signed by the man himself. To enter, all you have to do is comment below on one of our episodes of Cup of Tea. It's only the Cup of Tea episodes that count. I'm not checking the previews, and I'm not doing all of it. I'm just doing the Cups of Tea only. But if you comment below with something, your name goes in a bowl. When we hit 8,000 subscribers, one comes out and you get the signed Antonio shirt. Good competition, Gonzo.
It is a good competition, and I'm glad it was when you said signed Antonio shirt. I thought, who signed it? But when you said signed by the man himself, that would obviously increase its value. Whereas if we'd signed it, it would decrease in value, of course. Yeah.
How many fake accounts have you got ready to enter for the signed shirt?
Many fake accounts. They usually get closed down quite quickly with the older copyrighted material. Do you know what I mean?
I wonder if the club's fake accounts are going to enter or not, or maybe they won't bother on this one. It's usually just the negative ones they comment on.
A couple of them follow me, actually. They're when I say anything positive about the club, they're really, really gushingly nice to me. And when I say something like, oh, you know, whatever, Sully's still stuck in the dark ages, they come out in force. How dare you? They saved our club, as we know.
Last week we were talking about off camera. We did the Chelsea preview with Tom, and Tom has said to us about season ticket renewals, and we said they won't do that until we're mathematically safe. Well, yes. We were wrong. I think it was the next day actually. They literally put the emails out saying you can now renew. Have you renewed yet?
No, but I will do. I just haven't got around to it. I did see the email, as we discussed in previous Cups of Tea. I don't always open the West Ham emails, but I will start doing so. But not yet, not as yet, but I certainly will.
People with BAM 5, £289 tickets, they've got 3 weeks to renew, or they have a price increase. But rough, isn't it? 3 weeks notice.
You're probably going to move on to this, but the club cash was the one that got my attention.
Right, I've not read that. What's that?
Oh, right, okay. Well, my dates might be slightly wrong, but anybody that has got club cash in their account, so for those of you who don't know what club cash is, maybe if you forwarded a ticket on or sold it back to the club, and you might have some club cash in your season ticket account, whatever it is, you can use that towards your new season ticket. But I think it's got to be done within the next 30 days, or as the letter said, or it will be lost. Lost to where? I mean, we don't know, but it's yeah. I mean, you have to. There's a time frame on how when you can use your club cash, and certainly that expires before the end of the renewal date.
I didn't know that. I've got about £14 club cash.
I got five. I got a fiver.
I sold my West Brom ticket to them, which they then sold on for 40 quid. So they made a nice bit of profit off that. I didn't know that. But you can't use it in the shop though. So if you aren't planning on renewing in time before that club cash thing, I highly recommend you go buy a gift card on the club shop with your club cash.
Yeah, I was going to get half a Modibo Maiga dildo, West Ham emblazoned dildo with my £5.
Oh, for God's sake! Right, I've not renewed yet. To be honest, I'm actually in two minds. Season, it's not nothing to do with the club. Actually, it's because of Sky and BT. It's like there's 4 more home games left this season. I'm going to 1 because of Sky. But the Man U was not really Sky's fault. It's our fault for not doing well in the FA Cup. But the other 3, 2 of them have been moved for Sky purposes, and it's just like Stoke on Monday. I can't get down to it unless I take 2 days off work, have an overnight stay in London, and I just can't justify that. So that's another game, and I've missed quite a lot of games this season already just because I can't go because of Sky fixtures, and it's sort of think you've got to. I've got to the point where I'm weighing up if it's worth paying all that when the Stoke game, for example, it's actually cheaper for you to go as a Claret member than it is for you to go as a season ticket. Because
I noticed that.
We paid on average £27.50 for a ticket, right? If you want to divide it by 19, our tickets are 20. But the club were doing them for 20 quid. It's cheaper for people to go in our seats with a Claret membership than it is us as a season ticket holder. I think that's a bit naughty. Get why they're doing it. Nobody wants to go. You know, they're trying to get people in, kids for £1, 2 for 40 quid, adults are for whatever they've done, and they've still not sold out. But they're undercutting season ticket holders now a little bit, and it makes me think, well, I might as well become a Claret member then. Actually, I won't even have to become a membership. I'll be able to get tickets on general sale because most of them are going to general sale now. Do you think the value of being a season ticket holder has gone down because of TV?
Not just because of TV, but on that subject, there certainly should be something in place from whoever it is, Sky, the Premier League, to ensure that each club has a certain number of fixtures that don't get moved, a certain number of Saturday fixtures. They'll put a blame on us because of the initial thing at the stadium with the Athletics. They'll say, well, a lot of that's your fault anyway. But I do think there should be something in place there in terms of the season ticket having lost its value. I think the big thing about a season ticket's value was a guaranteed seat, and not only a guaranteed seat in a certain area. Now that held a lot more weight at Upton Park. Actually, let's be perfectly frank here, you could go and sit where you want once you're in that stadium anyway. So does it really matter? Will you be able to sit in your seat, which might be, seat number 521 or no, but I'll tell you what, you might get in 527 or whatever the case may be. You will get very, very close wherever you want to sit. So yeah, I do think you've got a point there. The value of a season ticket has diminished in a number of ways.
The only reason that's really drawn me to renew is so that that reason. So I secure my seat. So we are still like bang on next to each other. The other thing is you've now got Saturday evening games coming in, which makes it even more difficult because, again, if I was to attend one of them, I'd have to stay over or leave early and come home. Walking hard place. But anyway, enough about season ticket renewals. Neither of us have done it yet. But one guy who we might be seeing next season if we renew, Marcus Brown, boy being on fire. Did you watch that game, the Everton under 23s one? It was live streamed. Did you watch
I know. It was live streamed. I didn't watch it, but I've seen the goals, and certainly I've been reading up as much as I can on it. Yeah, he's been getting rave reviews. He scored a goal in the game before as well. He had an injury, of course. I saw him come back. I saw him play at Wickham. I think it was possibly his first game back from injury, which had been quite a long-term injury. But the academy's doing really, really well. That, bearing in mind that team was only promoted last season, to be promoted and to be doing as well as they are. I mean, they've beaten Man City. Man City, for those that don't know, buying up and have been for the last 5 years, buying up all the youngsters around. Them and Chelsea seem to sort of carve up all the best youngsters. So to go up and actually beat teams like Manchester City, Chelsea, Man United and stuff like that, and to be, I think possibly only, I don't know, maybe 4 points off the top. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6, but not a lot. We're near the top. Is majorly impressive, and there's some real good kids in that thing. But Marcus Brown's 20 now, so yeah, I wonder how quickly we can get safe. I wonder if he'll feature on the bench. And you just sort of wonder what are the merits of having maybe him on a bench instead of Jordan Hugill, maybe.
Yeah, I do hope he gets in. I've always liked him, as you know. He's got that thing I like about players. There's just certain times you only have to watch a player for 5 minutes. Well, I do anyway. Before sort of they've got something about them. The way they dribble says a lot to me. Now, I'm not mocking this guy for the sake of it, but if you watch Chiati dribble, he literally hits the ball 5 yards and runs after it, right? It works when you're trying to travel 60 yards and there's nobody in front of you. It works, right? But I like players that can dribble reasonably good speed and the ball barely leaves their feet. And that's why I really like Lanzini. He can dribble fast and the ball doesn't move that far in front of him. And Brown's got that about him. He can dribble and the ball's in his area. So if someone comes near him, he just moves and gets a free kick. That's what I like to see. And hopefully he might be involved against Stoke on the bench at least. But more players. Well, let's put it this way. The transfer rumours are starting to hot up. Last time we did the show, there wasn't much transfer rumours at all. But now there's quite a bit. It's starting with, well, West Ham said, oh, we're changing our transfer strategy. We're changing it. Bringing a director of football. Nobody's going to know who we're going for. So what do? We put Tom Cairney in behind David Moyes' dugout at Stamford Bridge. Well, that's secret. They're managing to keep that secret, aren't they?
I don't know. Why are they even looking at players? There's no director of football. That's the point. That's the first point, surely the only point. Sorry, director of the whole point, director of football, he chooses the players. So we should be targeting nobody. Well, actually, it turns out we're targeting exactly the same people that we were targeting, or apparently at least looking at, in the previous transfer window before they came out with this ridiculous statement about changing the structure. So, yeah, no surprise there. Of course, we had a chat in the week, didn't we? Because I was asking you on the phone earlier this week about Cairney. And, yeah, why don't you tell everybody what you told me?
He's one of the best, arguably the best centre midfielder in the Championship. He gets forward more than no ball. He dictates play, dictates the tempo, which I think is important. I think that's something we've been lacking this season. Too often, we fail to kill the tempo of the game. We fail to buy ourselves time. Like the ball goes away and it comes back at us just as quick. He's got vision on him, which is important. What sometimes takes our midfielders 2-3 touches to do the pass, it takes Cairney 1 or 2 touches to do the pass, and that's important. He's coming into his prime though. He's 27 going on 28. I think he's turning 28 very soon. How long has he got left at this prime, and how long's the contract we're intending on giving him? My only concern is we're going to hand him a 5-year deal and he's going to be here till he's 33 years old. This is what we're trying to get away from. We are buying a player who's probably going to be at the peak of his value and at the peak of his game. So we're going to have to pay top dollar to get that in. He's only going to depreciate in value unless he somehow turns it on in one season. He might go up in value, but after that he comes down again because of his age. I really like the signing, actually. I think it's a solid signing. I think there's no risks to it, but I think you know what you're getting, so there's not going to be any surprise package, if that makes sense. You're not buying a rough diamond. You're getting what you see with Tom Cairney.
Yeah, I mean, the age thing worries me. I don't know. That's why I asked you. I don't know what sort of a player he is, and so that's why I was relying on you telling me. The age thing does worry me, particularly when we're linked with Kagawa as well. Of course, there's another one that's 29, and I do think, well, hold on, how many of these players are we going to get? There's still that nagging sort of thing in the back of my mind that says, actually, we're getting Fellaini, and we have been lining him up for a year, sort of thing, or since Moyes came in, you know. So, yeah, the age thing is certainly an issue, and we miss legs a lot of the time as well in midfield. So, how quick is Cairney? Is he obviously maybe he's not lightning, but is he quick enough to cover? Is he quicker than Noble, basically?
Yeah, but he's not lightning quick. I wouldn't say it's an attribute of his game. You know, he's hard working, etc., but he's not going to be beating Antonio in a flat race, for example.
No, I do think we need a stellar signing in the summer as well. We do need to fill these gaps, but we keep harking back to it, and I don't want to go on about it forever. We understand the reason for us moving, and we've gone over and over that. But part of it was progression, and to be better and to get close to those top teams. And actually, I'm a little bit worried since we moved. Actually, we're not as good as Burnley, and then Wolves are going to come up. And I'm quite sure. Actually, when I came in, I think they were 1-0 up anyway. When we popped in and started recording now, and they only needed 5 points to be secured. So that will probably be 3 of them. They will, whatever we buy, I dare say they will spend more than us on a single player this summer. So you've got to look at them, and particularly bearing in mind, you'd have to say they're a more ambitious club than us, which again is a bit of a dagger. So we're not quite as good as Burnley. Actually, we're not as ambitious as Wolves, and that sort of hurts in terms of the promises that were made. So that's another one that is probably going to finish above us next season. When you are choosing these players that are journeymen to a certain extent, and you're going to buy players that might be 15 million or something like that, and you're not going to go and buy one that's 40 million, you've got to be really, really well organised. You've got to have something very, very special in place, because you've got to be almost like Burnley, and you've got to be better than the sum of your parts. And that worries me. The links that, as you say, the Cairney, the Kagawa, the Rondon one is nice, because I do think we need a centre forward, but I would like us to go and try and buy somebody a bit special in one of the positions, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I struggle to see where Cairney is going to fit in, because if you put him centre midfield beside Noble, then, you know, we are all every West Ham fan seems to think we need a specialist defensive midfielder. I think most people agree with that. I think Moyes agrees with that. So we're already sort of bringing in someone, but where's he going to go exactly? It can't be Noble's long-term replacement. He's only a couple of years younger than him. So it's a bit of a strange one. But you mentioned Kagawa there. David Moyes has worked with him before, Man United. Would you like to see Kagawa here? Or would it have been a case of yes, but 5 years ago?
Yeah, he looked full of energy. I remember him playing under Fergie, actually. Fergie used to wheel him out on the European nights, if you remember, as well. And I seem to remember him doing very, very well in them. But then I looked at his goal return today, and actually it was pretty poor. It was something like 6 goals in 90-odd appearances or something. I thought, oh, okay, that's not as good as I remember it, so to speak. So, yeah, high energy and fast, which I think is what we need. But it's like you say, you get those guys in. How long is he going to be doing that for? You can't keep renewing your players every 2 years. At some point, you have to put some 22, 23-year-olds in there. I don't include the academy lads. Forget the academy lads for a second. But at some point, you have to buy young lads and put them into the team. And so you're in a position like we were in with Lanzini. So I think whatever Lanzini was 22 or 23 when he came to us, maybe he's 25. Next year he's 26 or something like that. We should be seeing the very best of Lanzini in the next 3 years. That will be his peak years. And that's what we've got to be looking to do. Otherwise, you are just constantly renewing and replacing.
So Kagawa's a no from you.
It's a no from me.
What about Cairney?
It's hard for me to say because I've just never seen him play, and I'm taking a guess and I'm going off what you say. I don't mind as long as we do the thing that I said, which is buy a Stella. So last year it was Arnautovic, and I think we can all agree that Arnautovic was probably worth more now than the 25 million we paid for him. So that was a good buy. If we can get another sort of superstar like that, regardless of how much we pay, then I'll take your Cairneys and your Hendricks right back. Ends from Fulham. Fulham might not sell anyway. Fulham might be promoted. They're in I think they're unbeaten now in 15 games or something like that. And I think they beat Cardiff a couple of days ago. Neil Warnock was doing his nut, wasn't he? Oh no, that was against Wolves.
That was Wolves, yeah.
That was Wolves, yeah. But anyway, I think they beat Cardiff. Did they? They've gone above Cardiff. I think that was it. They've gone above.
They're currently sitting second.
Yeah, they've gone above Cardiff, so they may well get promoted themselves. And if that's the case, it's certainly they're not going to sell their captain to us for 15 million. That's not going to happen. So we might not be able to raid Fulham in the way that we hope anyway.
He's, at the end of the day, as you say, Fulham are second. Cairney is a massive part of that. He is the main cog in that team. You take out them, I know everyone praises Sessegnon because he scores goals. He's young. Now, he's special. There's no doubt about that. But Cairney is the man in the middle, the leader, the captain, the one that dictates the play. You take that out, and the rest of them just fall apart. So we are arguably going after one of the best players in Championship, which I don't mind. I think sometimes that's actually the way forward to go because it's safe. I think it's safe. There's no risk element here. But what I do think is risky is, like you said, Fulham could come up, and that surely changes the whole perspective of the transfer. Fredericks, though, they're right back. Is out of contract in the summer, so that's a little bit different because that's not up to Fulham. Fast, gets forward well, has got a decent amount of assists to his name. Is that type of right back we should be going after? Yes,
I do think we need a bit of pace. Having said that, I was really, really impressed with Zabaleta at the weekend, but he can't stay there forever. It needs to be addressed. Now, Zabaleta's defensive qualities are superb. But yeah, I think if we're going to progress the club, we want to see a little bit more expansive football. We want to attack better. Then we need to start threatening teams from other areas in the way that Masuaku stretches a defence. I don't know. I've only really seen one team play properly this season in that championship, and it was Brentford. And for some reason, I've seen Brentford play twice, but they really impressed me. They play lovely to the point I'm watching it. I think, well, this is fantastic. So I've got a bit of a B&B bonnet about Brentford because they seem to have no money, but they play really attractive football. Aside from that, in all honesty, Geo, I've not seen a lot. Hendricks could walk past me in the street and I wouldn't recognise him.
Yeah, I don't know a great deal about Fulham, full stop. I know a bit about Cairney. Scottish helps. But with Fredericks, I do think it's important to get a younger right back in who has got a bit of pace about him. Then that way, when you're at home and you're playing a team you're expected to attack, you can bring out your younger, faster one. But when you do go to Stamford Bridge, where you are going to be on the back foot, then you can bring out your Zabaleta. And it also means that if you wanted to, you can play Zabaleta centre midfield in those other games that your right back's playing in. It does potentially spell the end of Sam Byram, though, who's been a bit unlucky with injuries while he's here, perhaps not lived up to it. But one transfer rumour that came about at the weekend going out of West Ham is Aaron Creswell to Everton. Let's not take the fee into consideration because it was a bit wild at 25 million. But would you be disappointed to see Creswell go, or do you think he's perhaps become out of favour, if you like, and it's time to move him on? Or
he's not matched the form of his first season, which was under Sam Allardyce. Apparently, Sam Allardyce wants him at Everton. Sam Allardyce ain't going to be at Everton next season. The fans are sick of him, and they've got an ambitious owner. We spoke about Wolves being ambitious. Everton are equally ambitious, if not more so. I do believe the owner is a billionaire and one that likes to spend his money at that. So I don't think he's going to be there. So maybe it's not even a debate. But let's say, for argument's sake, he is going to be there, and a bid comes in for Cresswell. What I can actually see happening is Masuaku gets injured or has a period out like he just has, and all of a sudden we say, well, hold on, we don't have another left back as cover, and that's really the problem. I think whilst he's been playing in that position that he's playing at the moment, it's stopped the argument and it's given him a position, because I think, and actually it stopped something awkward, which would have been Masuaku actually would have taken his place had we been playing three proper centre backs. That's what would have happened. Cresswell probably would have been on the bench every time Masuaku was available. So I think the question is Cresswell happy to play second fiddle? Personally, I'd keep him on board. I'm not in a rush to sell anybody that we don't need to, because as I always say, the same thing, bit of a scratch record. I'm never convinced that, let's say we got 15 or 20 million for Aaron Cresswell, I'm not convinced that we'll spend it well. I never am with our club. I almost think we're better off with players in the squad than money in the bank, which we could just waste anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell him. I like him. I think he gets too much stick. Everybody seems to think he plays really bad at left centre back. I must watch a different Aaron Creswell, because I think he does okay. I don't think he's excellent at left centre back, but considering it's not his position, I think he's good. Do you know he's got the most assists for us this season?
That's ridiculous.
He's played half the season centre back and he's still got the most assists. He's got 6. Lanzini's got 5. And Ivich has got 4. You know, Creswell's still, but I think he gets too much stick. He's a bit like this season's Noble in a way. Noble was getting it last season. I think people have gone off Noble now because they've started to realise he's actually played quite well. And I think they're starting to turn to Creswell a little bit. And I feel sorry for him because I actually don't think he plays that bad. I don't know. I think you could count the defensive errors he's done, major ones. I think you could count them on one hand, personally. I don't think he's done that many, nothing glaringly. He had a shocker of a game away to Bournemouth. I remember that. But apart from that, I don't think he's been that bad. But maybe it's just me. But 25 million, you'd sell half the team for 25 million, in all honesty. There's not many players you'd say no to that for. Other rumours, we're not going to go into too much detail, is Fulham striker Mitrovic. We're looking at 3 Fulham players by the sounds of it. A couple of players from Barcelona, some young guy, I don't know, and Andre Gomez. Leeds centre-back Janssen. And the other one that you were talking about earlier, one that a little bit of sparkle at a younger player, Norwich's James Maddison. Now, it's quoted at 17. I don't think 17 million is going to get you him. I think he's going to be 25 million odd. Is that the type of player you'd be happy with? You said Arnautovic. Is this your Arnautovic deal if you get him in?
Yeah, I said this the other day, actually. I've seen some highlight reel stuff of Maddison. So, again, I'm not going to suddenly change my tune and claim to know a lot about him. But because he's played so well, his clips pop up, don't they? And people make little short YouTube videos of him. So I've seen what he can do. And I just think we're never going to compete with the top guys. Top players now cost upwards of 80 million, anywhere between that and what Coutinho went for 150 million. We just can't compete. We cannot get involved in that. So actually we have got to buy the next Coutinho or the next or whatever. We've got to buy them before they become that, and with the promise of first team football. So maybe you've said this before, it's not rocket science to you. We do go and buy the player for 25, 30 million who is young, and actually, do you know what? Maybe he doesn't even stay with us forever, but maybe in 3 years he is worth 50, 60 million, something like that. And I think that's what we got to do. We can't afford five-star players, so maybe we go and buy 3.5-star players with the potential to improve to become 5-star players. You know?
Yeah, I think this one would keep fans happy. Maddison, I think he would get fans on their seat. He was on loan on Aberdeen. Season before last, he was up at Aberdeen on loan. Really, really good player. Scored as good a free kick as you'll ever see against Rangers in the last minute as well to win the game. I mean, you're not going to get better than that up here. But
is he Scottish?
No, but he was just up on loan. But this is a guy's value who's probably about half this price a year ago. But because everybody sat on their hands and didn't take the chance, he's now doubled, maybe even trebled in value in one season. And if you get him into the Premier League and he can show anything the form he's shown in the Championship, he'll double in price just like that. I mean, if we were to talk about Declan Rice right now, we're not going to go into it, but if we were to talk about Declan Rice, the figure we would throw about would be astronomical because of his age. Simple as that. Because he can do it in the Premier League. He's showing it. He's just done it against Morata. You know, he's doing it week in, week out in the Premier League. And if you get Maddison into the Premier League and he starts doing it week in, week out, his value also goes through the roof. But you also create a picture to other young players by saying, if we come and get you, you will get a chance here. There is space for young age. We don't matter what age you are. It's like if you were a young player in the lower league, I'll tell you what, I'll write down the club. If you were a young player in the Championship right now, say you were James Maddison.
Yeah.
And someone said to you, what Premier League club would you like to go to now? And you're thinking about game time in the Premier League. Who would you pick? Who would you say that's the ideal club for me? Probably.
Well, the team that popped into my head straight away was Southampton for some reason, because they bring players through. I just wonder if I'm forgetting anybody. You see, like with Oxlade-Chamberlain, Arsenal signed him. It took him ages to get into the team. That was the wrong move for him. Actually, now at Liverpool, he's turned into a good player, but he wasted a lot of years at Arsenal. You can move too quickly. Go on, who am I forgetting?
Hang on one sec. Spurs. That's where I'd be going. I'd be looking at Dele Alli and I'd be saying, I'm having that. I'm having a piece of that. They came and got him. He was turning it on in League One. They went and got him from MK Dons, gave him his chance, and he's used that chance. And that's what we need to become at West Ham. We need to become the club that goes into the lower leagues. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Getting the best players that are a little bit young, saying, we want you. And those young players are going to go, well, I remember this player and that player and this player. They've all come to you, got a chance. I'm going there as well. But is there any other transfer links you've seen? Any other transfer rumours you've seen, like, talk about?
No, Rondon we've discussed, and I do think that we need a centre forward. Well, we've got a fantastic centre forward in Xavier Hernandez, of course, but he's not going to be played. No one fancies him. He's going to be off at the end of the season. So at the very least, we need, if we are to be stuck with Moyes, at the very least, we're going to need a striker that he fancies. And if that's Rondon, then great, because actually it will liberate some of the others. And if that gives Arnautovic a different position to play in, then that's really going to help the team going forward, because Arnautovic was so isolated. If we had a centre forward there's no way Arnautovic would be hanging back like the rest of the team did against Chelsea. He'd be trying to get forward sort of constantly, and I think he'd bridge the gap. He'd be a little link man in there. So he's a good striker, and probably the sort of level that maybe we should be looking at, and probably physical enough to appeal to David Moyes, as he's a bit of a brute, isn't he?
Yeah, I like Rondon as well. I've always liked him. He's a big guy, but he's mobile for his size, actually. He's surprisingly mobile. He hasn't scored loads for West Brom, but he's playing for West Brom at the end of the day. I think you need to take that into consideration. I think he's got 6. It's not great, but for what would be our third choice striker, maybe, I'd struggle to think if you went to any club outside the top 6 and looked at their third choice striker, would it be as good as Rondon? I'd be surprised you come back with more than 3 clubs and said this club's got 3 strikers as good as we've got. But yeah, I'd go for Rondon as well. West Ham ladies won their first trophy of the season.
Yeah, two cracking goals as well.
Yeah, I mean, the keeper was a bit shit, weren't she?
I saw another game that they played where the keeper was awful. It was terrible. And I was about to write something sarcastic. Well, no, don't. It's sort of piddling on the old fireworks, really. But yeah. Well done to them. Yeah,
congratulations to Jack Karen and the rest of the team over at the West Ham ladies for their win. Not much goalkeeper talk. Joe Hart, I know he had a good performance, but we're all pretty accepting that he's not coming back next season. We can't afford him. He's not worth the money, whatever you want to pick. Are you surprised at the lack of rumours of to which keeper we're going to be targeting in the summer?
No, not really, because as I say, we shouldn't be having any links with anyone who don't have a director of football. So I would hope that we're already in talks with the director of football, and I'd hope that he already has his targets and we don't know them yet because we're not allowed to. They're not going to let it go down to that. Having said that, I think we still can retain Adrian for next season. That's fine because there's the option on the contract there or whatever. And I also think it's not desperate. If we go in to the start of next season with a transfer window still with a month left to run, and what we have is Adrian as our number 1 and Nathan Trott as his backup, that's not the worst situation in the world. I said I was on with the Three Hammers, the lovely podcast. Check it out if you've not been there before. I went on with them last week, and I said on that one, I think there's a situation presenting itself at Burnley at the moment, which is Sean Dyche has said that he has 2 number 1s, and I said on the boys' show there, the keeper's not going to be happy with that. One of them's going to want to be number 1, one of them's going to be number 2. At some point, he's going to have to make a decision, and they are both chomping at the bit to represent England. So I do think one of those 2 very good keepers at Burnley is going to be available, and that's what I would like to see us do, go in for one of those 2. Whoever they deem to be their second, I think that's still a very, very good keeper for us. And Burnley are not so rich and not so big, they won't sell players. We've seen it with Keane, we've seen it with Gray. They will sell players, and that's what I'd like to see us do.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Would you be happy if that was sort of not half, but a large portion of our transfer budget if it were brought in? I would assume Tom Heaton, because Pope's the one that's been in fine form this season. So I think Tom Heaton's probably the one that'd sell. It would probably cost you about 20 million to get him out of Burnley, though. But would you happily see us spend that much money, bearing in mind our budget's probably about 60 million net spend?
I wouldn't mind. If our budget is 60 million and we also are allowed to sell players and then bring in the money from that, so be it Hernandez, if Hernandez brings another, not only, I don't think you sell Hernandez for big bucks. I think Hernandez goes for 10 million, but you get all that money off the wage bill. If we can wheel and deal as well, and actually, we sell £20 million worth of players and there's 60 million there. For West Ham, I'd be delighted with that, and I'd more than happily spend 20 million of that on a very good keeper, particularly a young one. You just think that's it's like we said with Cairney, that you're not renewing the problem every 2 years. That's it. That's done. That situation's done. You don't even have to look at it for another 10 years or whatever. It's just done. Job done. So that would prove value for money.
I totally agree. It also gives your defence stability. I mean, it can't be easy having 2 keepers behind you, chopping and changing every 7-8 games like they have been over the last 2 seasons. It happened last season as well, remember. It was Randolph, then it wasn't Randolph, now it's Hart. But it can't be easy trying to form a partnership when you've got different people behind you with different styles. One likes to come for the ball crosses, the other one doesn't. So when the ball's coming in, you're used to keeper coming, and all of a sudden you're waiting for him, and it's no longer that keeper, and he's standing on his line waiting for you to head it away. So it would give stability to the defence as well. I think I agree with you on this. Go get Pope or Heaton and spend big bucks. We're ready to take questions from you. I've got some on Twitter and the YouTube live chat. Just before we do that, there's a thing at the moment called Football Blogging Awards. We did it last year. We're not going to ask people to vote for us this year, but people have done. And it's just to say thank you to them in case they think we're just ignoring them and being a bit ignorant. We're not. We do appreciate, honestly, but it's not something we're going to go for. But Gonzo, you ready for some question time? Your favourite part of the show?
Yes, please. Bring it on. Let's
start with Twitter. PJ Eason 2 says, which central midfielder should we get and who do you think we will get?
Well, PJ, I've said already about I do think in the back of my mind that Fellaini has been the long-term target. But what with it being a new year and all, I don't want to depress everybody. So let's not forget Jack Wilshere has still not signed his contract at Arsenal. And Arsenal do not look like an improved team that are climbing the league. I think Aubameyang looks good and has a good scoring record, but I think he's waiting to see what happens. And I think if what happens at Arsenal is that Arsene Wenger stays for another couple of years or whatever, I think Wilshere's up for grabs. I'd be very disappointed if we weren't already in negotiations with him, and that's what I would like to see.
I still wanted my biggest priority for the summer, and this is over the whole window, is a specialised midfielder with defensive attributes. Someone that can allow us to play a back four and allow the left back and right back to get forward and support it and not have to. Do you know, watching Man City Liverpool, now I'm not saying we can ever get a player like Fernandinho, but when you watch Man City play, he is unbelievable. He is what makes Man City tick. The way he just covers. The ball will be going down the right-hand flank and he's there. And you think, how the hell has he got there? He was in the middle of the pitch 30 seconds because he can just read the game so bloody well. But it also allows players like Kyle Walker to go forward knowing that they've got something. And we could have that and play a back forward and allow Masuaku, for example, to get down the left. Our attacking side of the game comes on leaps and bounds. I don't know who this player is, actually. I genuinely don't know who to suggest. I think they maybe have to go to their new stats centre, pull someone out of the French league or the Dutch league or the German league that is cheaper, get him in that can do it. If you're really wanting someone in the Premier League, have a look at Everton and check out Idrissa Gueye's situation and see if he's getting to stay there next season. If the new manager comes in, you might not fancy him. If not, go get him and he'll come in there and slot in that role anyway. Right, Skills on Toast says, with three at the back formation becoming so popular in Premier League and we're also playing as well, do you think we should be targeting players specifically for the roles created by the system, regardless of who the manager could be next season?
No, because it would be sod's law. It really would be sod's law that actually the system would be changed. And this brings us back to the importance of the director of football. Now, when I think director of football, I don't think of it in the terms that I believe Sullivan does. I believe Sullivan looks at it as almost a head of scouting. For me, a director of football has his fingers in all the pies. The director of football goes and chooses the manager because it is actually the director of football who has the philosophy. So the director of football, let's say the director of football plays a 4-1-2-1-2. Then everyone the director of football brings in is comfortable in the 4-1-2-1-2. And when he goes and chooses a manager, he chooses a manager that plays the 4-1-2-1-2. And that's where you get the continuity. That's how it should work. So I don't think, particularly if we don't know who the manager is going to be, I don't think we should be buying players for a system when we don't have a director of football and we don't know who the manager is going to be, because sod's law, particularly with our mob running the club, we've seen it with Hernandez. Hernandez was bought when he didn't suit Bilic's style, and he didn't even suit Moyes' style. So if our owners can do that, they can certainly go and buy players that won't suit our next manager's style. I think we need the guy in place, director of football, and then I would start buying the players that would suit his philosophy and ethos.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I would get the manager in. I would give the manager a bit more say, but only in regards to the manager chooses how he wants to play. Then the director of football has to go and find players to fit the manager's style. But like that's exactly what Liverpool are doing with Klopp. You know, what does he want? He wants fast wingers that can score. Okay, what does he want? A hard work centre midfielder. He wants a defensive midfielder with two ball players alongside him. Then they go out and find all these players to fit Klopp's jigsaw. And I think that's what we need to do here. But the problem is, first we need a manager with a long-term contract and a long-term plan at West Ham. A 2-year deal is nothing. If it's Moyes or someone else, 2 years won't work. By the time the director of football starts to put that jigsaw together, a new manager's coming in with a completely different one altogether, and director of football's job gets a lot harder. But speaking of director of football, did you see who we are linked with? I'm trying to remember the guy's name off the top of my head. I'm struggling. It's the one at Leicester. Is his name Eduardo Marcia? I think his name is.
Well, this caused absolute confusion because the guy that had done well at Leicester, the guy that brought in Kante was Walsh. He brought in Vardy and he brought in Dubry. What's it? The left, Sorry,
Kante, Mahrez,
Mahrez. Yeah, Mahrez the other one. So then he went on to Everton. Walsh went on to Everton. So we've brought in. Why would we bring in the guy that? I don't understand it. Surely you go and get the outstanding one rather than the one that didn't have anything to do with that. That's a weird one, right?
But Walsh at Everton's done crap.
I'm not saying go and get Steve Walsh. I just find it weird that Leicester have famed. Leicester's winning title bid was built on, in particular, 3 players. You could probably add Drinkwater in there as well, maybe. The guy that was responsible for getting all of those, we're not going for him. We're going for somebody else who hasn't really brought in brilliant players at Leicester. So I
disagree because he brought in Ndidi at Leicester, and if I could bring a defensive midfielder in with money at no cost, earlier when we were talking about, I was bearing in mind costs, and that's why I ruled out Ndidi and I ruled out Mourinho at Newcastle because you're just not getting them unless you pay that. We ain't got it. But he brought in Ndidi at Leicester.
Well, I think if you're bringing in someone off the back of bringing in one who might have lucked in on one player,
I'm struggling to think. He brought in Iheanacho, and now I know he wasn't a success. Bloody hell, I wanted Iheanacho a lot last season in the summer, and he brought him in. But if you go back to his time at other clubs, he brought Sterling to Liverpool for whatever it was, less than £1 million. He had a hand in Fernando Torres going to Liverpool. Over in Italy, he had Rossi at Fiorentina. He's had success where he's been.
See, well, I'd like to say. I mean, I'm yet to remain convinced. I've got to say, everyone knew about Sterling at QPR. Everyone knew about him. Fernando Torres. Everyone.
But he's the one that delivered it. This is what we're after. We're after the guy that can deliver this stuff.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not impressed with the portfolio that you've just given there. If we're going for someone, I just found it a little bit weird, as I say, for the reasons that I said that he didn't have a hand in the big players at Leicester. Go on. You thought of someone.
Harry Maguire. That's the other Leicester player. Now, I know everybody knew about Harry Maguire. Point is, he got him. Nobody else got him. He got him. He's the one that went to Hull City and said, I'm having him, and got it done like that. And Harry Maguire is now one of the best centre-backs outside. If you did your top 6, outside the top 6-11 in the Premier League, I'd be surprised if Maguire didn't make your 11. And if he didn't, he would certainly be on your bench. He was the one that brought him to Leicester. He brought Ndidi to Leicester.
Listen, I'm not saying he's without his merits, and now we're starting to come up with a couple. But it wasn't the person that sprang to mind. I don't even know his name. You can't even remember his name. There's and not that that's a big remit. Maybe a director of football, you shouldn't know their name, but it's not. It doesn't smack me of like Frank Arneson was and people like that. It was. Yeah, is that the best guy for the job? I don't know. I do think, I just wonder how much we've missed out on with that naughtiness with Tony Emery, because you look at Masuaku now, you look at Fernandes. I know he had a crap game against Chelsea, but actually for someone that could spend $5 million on a player and then be worth more, he was actually quite good at it, wasn't he? So let's hope they get it right. What I would like to see is I'd like to see that job of hiring the director of football. I'd like to see that outsourced. I don't want Sullivan making that decision. I want football people. You almost get someone in to do. You almost get whatever David Dean in or something to go and find your director of football. Get a football guy in to go and do that. I think that's quite important. And whoever it is, if it is this guy, I do want the most talented director of football in there. That's or as best as we can afford.
The thing is, so we were talking about short-termism. I actually think your director of football could be a short-term thing, because eventually, how often do you see a director of football bring in talent wave after wave? Walsh is the perfect example. He's nailed it at Leicester, gone up to Everton. He couldn't even get a striker in, full stop. That's why Koeman ended up getting sacked, because he had no striker. And Walsh somehow survived. But the point is, director of football can be quite if you're scouting Belgium or whatever, cuts contacts where you've lost your arm essentially. You know, you need the guy that is up to date with all the modern people. And if you know players that are 18 now, in 5 years' time, they're all going to be 23. Someone else probably knows all the new 18-year-olds. And I'd imagine that's probably the most difficult job in football, I reckon, just keeping and doing the job Tony Henry did, etc. Having to liaise with all these people. How big must his network be, really? If you're trying to cover worldwide. Now, you could go over to Tony Henry and say, well, he liked his players in Belgium because he brought in Chiati, went back for Dendoncker. So he obviously has decent links over there.
Sure.
But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what comes of this. If we do get a director of football, but like you said, currently we're targeting the players that we were targeting with Tony Henry. He was a director of football. Was he head of recruitment or something? No, what was his job title?
No, I think it was head of player recruitment. Yeah,
that's it. Right, back to questions at West Ham Pod USA. It's the American podcast. Very good podcast. So do have a listen if you haven't already. So, what's your thoughts on pre-season in America? Does long-traveled pre-seasons actually make a difference than European ones? And that's from Tony from the American podcast.
Hello, Tony. I have long been of the conclusion that that pre-season means nothing and next to nothing. The important thing is them getting fit. I think we went over last time I went to the States, went to Seattle. Did we have a game at Seattle, didn't we? You know, it was particularly successful. But a long time ago, I stopped reading anything into pre-season. I think the important thing about pre-season is the work that's actually done when they're in England and when they're at the training grounds and getting ready for the season proper. The pre-season stuff is a lot of it's money spinning stuff, so they'll go wherever the money's best. Don't mind. It'd be nice if it was in Europe because it'd be easier, you know, for the fans, the home fans to follow. Having said that, gives all you guys in the States a chance to see West Ham. I know we got some on the forum. We have some Antipodean fans. I know whenever West Ham gone down there, we played in Christchurch relatively recently, didn't we? And that gave some of our fans, some of the Kiwi fans, a good chance to see some of the players that they support and watch on the telly all the time. So I don't care. I don't have a problem with it wherever they go.
I think it's good for fans, but I'm not a particularly big fan of it in terms of training and logistics, etc., etc. I mean, it depends on the players, really. If the players enjoy it, then that's the most important thing, as long as the work gets done. I mean, the trip to Miami certainly looks like it's done leaps and bounds. Went there as a squad and came back as a team, which is two different things altogether. I prefer them to play, to be honest, I'd have them playing in Dagenham and Redbridge and stuff if it was down to me. I would just stay where we are, if anything, see we could and get them to peak condition. But it's all about commercial these days, isn't it? Pre-season sort of half being taken out of the manager's hands and put in charge of someone in the commercial department going, where can we go that we're going to reap the rewards financially here? I'm surprised we've not been linked to that Asian tournament that takes place every summer. We've not been over there for a little bit, have we? So we keep being rumoured to go over there. But there were a couple impact.
Well, yeah.
A bit. Maybe not our players. We've only got a few of them going, but back to more questions. Kia Deep Pro says to concentrate funds on top drawer players who are the three under 23-year-old players that you'd happily see in the first team next season. He would like to see Oxford, Brown, and Cullen.
Well, I think I'll certainly pick two different ones. Do you there? Oxford's been a victim of Declan Rice. Declan Rice has been so good. I almost struggle to see a way forward for Oxford. So I will obviously go with Declan Rice. I'm going to go with no big shock here. I'll go for Nathan Holland as well, as I always do, because I rate him so highly. It would be nice if Brown came through, but having seen Ben Johnson at right back, if we didn't secure that Hendricks, Ben Johnson is younger than most of them, but he's a strong, athletic boy. He's not, he's a boy in a man's body, so to speak. So he looks very, very good. So yeah, that would be someone for me. Not maybe starting, but I'd like to see him getting some appearances at right back next season. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if we're counting Rice, and it's always going to have to be Rice. I assume he wasn't counting Rice, but yeah, Brown, Cullen. I would go Reece Burke. I think he deserves one full season with us, one last roll of dice. He gets game time where he can. If he fails, he's out at the end of the season. If he succeeds, great. We've got a centre back there that can also play right back for, well, he's free, isn't he? He's our player. But I just think he deserves a chance as well. But the problem is with Burke and Cullen, they're at that age now. A decision really has to be made. They have to make it, the club has to make it. Someone needs to say to them, you're in the first team next year. It looks like Cullen's getting that chance now. He's getting 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. Burke, not so much. And that has to be a worry for him. They really need to decide, and the club need to decide on them. Right, going on to the YouTube ones quickly. Stephen Madden says, earlier you were talking about going into the championship. You were saying you wanted a little bit more than Cairney. We send Madison, unlikely. This is a player I know you like, but I'll ask it anyway. Jack Grealish, would you take him over?
Oh, did you see his goal the other day? Yeah, I do. I really like. I always have. I know he was a naughty boy. He got caught smoking the old what's it, didn't he, and all of that sort of thing. Or maybe that was Wilshire. Maybe they both smoked it. I don't know. Allegedly. Don't sue me. But whatever. They were naughty boys, you know, doing naughty things, girls, and I don't mind. I don't mind that at all, because, as I've said before, I think that's what West Ham have to do. We don't get the polished article that can track back and can run, is perfect and trains hard, like Alexis Sanchez. I know you forget what happened recently at Arsenal, but you know what I mean. He's talented, he runs, he you know, he ticks all the boxes. That's why we had players like Di Canio. You had a flawed genius. We only got in because he was a nutter, okay? And I think sometimes you've got to take that brilliance. And Arnautovic, to a certain extent, was an inconsistent left winger at Stoke who can get sent off. And I think that's why you got him for that. He'd never actually really achieved his potential. So you're asking for a manager to get the best out of him. Someone like Grealish is a bit of a bad boy, a bit of a naughty boy, in a way that I always hoped would happen with Ravel Morrison in many respects. I'm not adverse to giving those guys a chance, particularly when they are very, very talented, like Grealish is. Yeah, I think that's a really, really good shout. What a volley the other day as well, by the way.
Yeah, I would just say no. I think also it's important now that we've got big personalities at the club now that would probably grab players like that by the scruff of the neck a little bit. So you're not getting away with that here, son. You're sticking in. Mainly Noble and Zabaleta. You know,
Noble, Zabaleta and Collins, and a young one in Rice who looks to have leadership qualities. So yeah,
if Collins is here, is looking less and less more likely. There's other questions people have been asking about players from the top six who are sort of on the fringe. We're going to do a show specifically on them. So people are saying Shaw, Ings, Ross Barkley, etc. We'll cover that because it's quite a big question. Tom says, do you think in the summer we should just sell Hugo?
I feel really bad saying it, you know. Feel rotten.
No, it wasn't.
You're exactly right. I didn't put him in this bloody position. He was used as almost a propaganda tool, really, on the last ditch. So as we had someone appearing on that yellow banner on Sky Sports News on deadline day, would he not have been better off staying at Preston? Or whatever happens, we sell him. We're going to make a loss on him, and he's not been given a fair crack at the whip, and we can't give him a fair crack at the whip. We can't afford to.
Do you not think we should? This is my answer, and that is we should give him a fair crack at the whip. Especially if we beat Stoke on Monday. As soon as we're mathematically guaranteed Premier League football, now there might only be 2 games to spare or something, but as soon as we are, in my opinion, this is where we should be saying to Cullen and Hugo, you're starting. This is your chance. You've got 270 minutes to show what you can do. This is next season's squad position up for grab.
No, I wouldn't, because I would do that for someone like Marcus Brown, who's been with us since he was 8, I think, or something like that. That I would do that with someone like him, or as I said, Nathan Holland, or whatever. I know he's not a centre forward. Xavier Hernandez would have every right to say, "Well, hold on, I've done everything you've asked of me. I've played." But what I wouldn't do is chuck Andy Carroll in there. That's what I wouldn't do. He's one player. I think everyone I've mentioned there, and you've mentioned, Hugo, Brown, Hernandez, all deserve to play as a striker before Andy Carroll does. If we make it safe before then, we've got a couple of games left. That's the one player I wouldn't play in there.
But the thing is with Hernandez, though, I don't think Hernandez has anything to prove. To us anyway, us as fans, I want him to stay next season, you know, but Hugo's got Well, at the end of the day, if someone's on our live chat right now saying should we sell him, and it's not his fault, and we're both sitting here saying actually we maybe should because we've not seen him. We've seen Fernandez. We know what he can do. We don't know what Hugo can do.
Well, not only do we know what he can do, we know he can score goals, and I think each place at something like £2 million a pop, incrementally for every place you go up. Number one, I wouldn't play Hugo. Number two, I don't think the club will as well. And it's exactly why I think we will see Hernandez, because the difference between finishing 16th and 13th or 12th is huge in money. Is huge. It's the cost of Hugo in many respects.
Yeah, no, I just think it's harsh on Hugo.
It is harsh.
Hugo, Cullen, if he somehow made it back, Byram, that's the three off the top of my head. That's the three I'd be saying. You're starting this last 2 or 3 games. I'd be getting the likes of Zabaleta out there. People who've got, and also anyone that's going to the World Cup, I'd probably be getting them out of the team and say, listen, we're safe now. Have your rest and get yourself fixed up and make sure you're ready to go to the World Cup and stuff. Flight Time says David Moyes responsible for Arnautovic's form?
Yeah, I'm quite happy. When I give Moyes stick for a lot of things, you've got to be able to give him credit for a lot of things. I wondered. Don't forget the elbow at the start of the season under Bilic, and I just thought, what are we doing here? Yeah, David Moyes has seen him as he's forward, but I'll give myself a little bit of self-praise. Self-praise is no praise, but I'll do it anyway. When we were first linked with Moyes, I said in our show, whatever it was, if you dig it back, I did mention about Cahill. I mentioned about Fellaini. I mentioned how he likes a big guy in attack. And I did say that I did think Arnautovic would appeal to Moyes. And so, but he does deserve credit for doing it because he very much fits his style. He's very much in the mould that Moyes likes. But where I think he's done well is he's taken him from the periphery of the game on the wides, whereas I very much always thought of him being more wide than Shaqiri, who was also a wide player at Stoke. I always imagined Shaqiri coming and drifted into the middle a little bit more. He's plonked him straight in the middle, really, for me, Moyes, and he's given him almost that free role. So you've got to give him credit, and I certainly do. Yeah,
he's got the best out of him. I've always liked Arnautovic. I remember when we signed him, I said to you, he's a match winner. He's the difference between 1 point and 3 in some games. But I never expected him to be the difference in matches this much this season, especially consistently. I was of the opinion he was inconsistent as a Stoke, but I thought he was worth taking for the 1 in 3 games he would turn up. But under Moyes, he's been turning up every game. Even when he doesn't score, he still plays well. So Moyes has to be given credit. And when Moyes writes down his team for next season, he's going to be the first name on it. And there's probably only 4 or 5 names on that team sheet he will write down. The other 6 will all be vacant. But Arnautovic as a striker will be the main one. And it's almost ironic that we've been waiting so long for a goal scorer and finally get one in Hernandez. But the guy we buy to supply Hernandez is actually the one we've got scoring the goals. But it's football. That's how it works. I cannot read my own writing. We'll take 1 or 2 more questions. Is there anything else you would... Well, hang on. Tom says, would you keep Moyes if it needed to be done to keep Arnautovic happy? Ooh, interesting question. He must know we don't like Moyes.
That's how we haven't made any secret of it. No, I just don't think it's that black and white. I don't think that's the only game in town. I think anyone could come in. Any manager that would be looking at the West Ham job would be smart enough to Arnautovic is a big part of it. So if you were any manager coming in, you'd come in and you would schmooze Arnautovic, you'd blow smoke up his what's-it, you'd tell him he was the best. And I'm pretty sure that any manager at a high level has got some good management skills. And I think half an hour in the office with Arnautovic, you make Arnautovic feel $1 million. And as much as, it'd be, listen, thanks for your time, David. Appreciate that, mate. And someone else will get in place. I don't think it's that simple. So no, I'm not. I wouldn't take that ultimatum.
I think you've just been hypothetical. I think he knows it's not that bad, but I think it's just hypothetical. But I don't know. It's a bit. I would still twist the manager. I'm just sort of dead set on my head, if you like, that I want to twist in somewhere on the manager, regardless. We keep saying Hugo and every other player's got 5 games. 6 games left of the season to sort of prove to us they've got a chance for next season. Moyes has sort of got the same. He's now got 5 or 6 games to win. Any doubters over, if you like. This is where he has to start. Once we're mathematically safe, and we beat Stoke on Monday, we'll virtually be safe. I think we've got to start seeing a little bit more of this football. But the problem is the fixtures are not kind to him. You know, City, Man United, we're not going to expect to see expansive football against them. But when we go away to Leicester, home to Everton, that's where we've got to say, come on then, Moyes, entertain us a bit here. Try and put on a show. Show us what you can give us, because you keep talking about how you want to play different, you want to play attacking football. We're still yet to see it. We've seen it in glimpses, but not consistently. And in games where we have needed to see it, it's only Southampton you really turned it on. I'm just reading the last few questions. I'm just reading the last few questions there anyway. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Gonzo, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No. I think we've covered lots, because we didn't do one last week, did we? So yeah, I think we've covered everything, and there'll be a lot more news between now and next week. There's no doubt about it. We've got a game on Monday, obviously, which we'll obviously be doing a preview for that. But we've got there's going to be more links. There's more drama. There's a lot left to play in the remainder of the season, so there'll be a lot more cups of tea with lots to say, mate. Yeah,
we'll do a couple of shows which are transfer specific rather than cups of tea. Especially, I want to do one around the top 6 fringe players that we feel like we'd like to see at West Ham. We'd like to do a show on that one, because there's 2 or 3 players from every club we could probably pick out, and possibly a show on the sides that are looking like they're getting relegated. Is there anyone would like to pluck out there and bring to West Ham? But anyway, if you're on iTunes, make sure you subscribe, leave a review on the feed if you can. 5 stars would be nice. And if you're on YouTube, drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new around here. 8,000 will give away that signed Antonio shirt. All you have to do is comment below on this video or any other episodes of Cups of Tea. They're the only ones that count, though, so no commenting on reviews and complaining that you've not been entered in the draw. We're going to say goodbye.
And it's
goodbye from me. See you soon.